Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to Thursday's writing lesson with Mr. Parsons. Let's get started straight away today. A quick reminder that we're writing for Jackie Morris to entertain and to help create a page of her new book of descriptive poetry. We're learning to collect appropriate vocabulary and create a poem with descriptions and similes. This is because we want to help Jackie Morris create a new book, and our success criteria is to collect vocabulary for your type of dragon and use description and similes in your poetry writing. If you remember our waggle from earlier in the week, you should yesterday have written part 1. So today we are focusing on part 2. It talks about the dragon's claws, its breath, its eyes, its tail, and its wings. And your job today is to create similes, really powerful similes for each of those parts of the dragon. So let's start off by thinking about its claws. The waggle says its claws are as pointed as the end of a needle. So let's think about claws of dragons. Here's some images of dragon claws that people have drawn. Let's see some words that we could use. I wonder what words you would use to describe the claws of a dragon. Can you think now of 3 words to describe those claws? Here are some ideas from me. Piercing, that means they can make holes very easily. Pointed, of course. Sharp, I wonder how many of you thought of that word. Long, they might be long, although actually in some of these pictures they look quite short. Menacing, so that's very much about how you would feel if you saw them. Remember, you have to decide what the claws would be like for your dragon in particular. So there's some ideas about claws. Just a quick recap that similes are when we say something is like something else. So we're going to use the words like or as in order to make our writing more interesting or humorous. Such as quick as lightning, he sprinted like a cheetah, as quiet as a mouse. Remember that from earlier in the week. So, the waggle says its claws are as pointed as the end of a needle. So the first part of your poem is going to start in the same way. Its claws are. And then you need to use your ideas about claws to create your simile. You may have already had an idea about a simile for claws when you did your initial brainstorm. If not, you're going to need to think of them today. You don't necessarily have to do a brainstorm for claws. You could just think about ideas for yourself. To simplify it, I have created a slightly easier version with our snow dragon that we've been working together on. So I've given you more of the beginning of the line. Its claws are as sharp as. So I've reduced your choice, and all you now have to think about is something else in the world that is really sharp. Something else that it could be compared to. Then we think about its breath. Its breath is like. Oh, I remember yesterday in my brainstorm I put an example of a simile talking about its breath being like, I think it was clouds of crystals or frosty clouds of crystals. So you can have a think about using your ideas to help build up your similes. The core and extension task today is on a separate sheet, and it just has the beginning of each line. So it will just have its claws are, its breath is, its eyes are, and your job is to continue each of those. So the core and extension are working together today on the same task. So have fun finishing off your poem today. All you have to do is try to figure out a simile for each part of the dragon's body. Write them down, check them through, proofread them. You can up-level some of the words, maybe go back to the thesaurus again, see if you can come up with some better vocabulary. Finish off your poem, and if you can hand it in by 3:30, we'd love to see them in their draft form. And I'll make Friday's lesson available from 5 o'clock today, all ready for tomorrow. So have fun with it today, and see you tomorrow.